Japan, people, Japan. I am in Japan as we speak. Do you know anything about Japan? I'm telling you now that Japan is an amazing country. Japanese people are amazing people, and there's many benefits that Japan can provide to our world. So I am in Japan. My name is Nathan, and I live in a place called Minokamo. And this is a place that I am welcoming people to come and visit me, because we are going to build a trend that is going to unleash the potential that Japan has, but also release the potential that we have. But one thing I want you to know is that we have to first understand what Japanese people need. And I'm telling you now that a person like myself who's communicating in English, one of the purposes I have here is to try to get Japanese people to speak English. And they openly want to speak English. They openly want people to come to their country. But so far, they can't speak English as much as they would like to. And the place that I live in, Minokamo, people have yet to find the reasons to travel here. And today this video is to show why you need to come here and the place where I'm at. And behind me, you can see I am at a place that's called Seiryu Satoyama Koen. And I'm going to show you inside exactly why this place is the most amazing place that right now is going to welcome foreign people to come here and welcome Japanese people to come here, so that we can start the process of making the best future possible. Let's go inside. Japan has the value that we need through their manufacturing, okay? But one thing I want to impress upon you is that when it comes to education as a whole, and we could just apply this in English education, is that right now the way Japanese are trying to learn English is that they're learning in English conversation schools out of books. But what they really need is a situation where they could actually use language. And that's what this park serves as, a place where Japanese people will come here and they are going to be guides to foreign people. And they're going to explain Japan and Japanese culture in this location, and this is going to give them the real situation to use English. So you, as a traveler coming to Japan, without you, they have no one to explain these things to. So not only are you getting a value coming to Japan, but you're allowing for Japanese to provide a value for both of your mutual benefit. And look behind me, see? You could see that they recently designed these out of using grass and straw. And here you see these two towers. Japanese are very good designers and architects, and I cannot wait to share that with you. And now we're at the entrance, and I'll show you more what's inside. So I want you to get excited, because this park also has what we have in the adventure park, okay? So there's all sorts of different obstacle courses that await us, and it's sure to elicit language that otherwise we would not in the quiet environment, serious environment that most English conversation schools are. Anyway, we'll see more of that soon. Behind me is a house that's dedicated to demonstrating the silkworms. If you've ever seen those beautiful kimonos that Japanese make, a lot of them comes from a process which involves using worms, raising worms, and having them spin the fabric that we weave. And here on display, we can see various displays, Japanese hornets, the kind of silk that goes into the garments, Japanese games like the kendama, the Hinamatsuri dolls. Now, I'm explaining this stuff to you, but what is necessary is for Japanese people to explain this stuff to you as tour guides. This experience for them to explain stuff to an actual living person like you is invaluable to their English education. And here, we even get closer in seeing, well, I won't give you everything, but look, we're going into exactly how Japanese manufacture. And the important thing about Japan is that they are a small country, but they are at least the top 3. And how did such a small country with low natural resources, how did they become such a world power? This is eventually the education we're using, so how you are going to become a world power. Let's see more. Now what stands behind me is another house. And if you can't see inside, what we have are weaving machines. And a lot of you don't know this, but we all know Toyota. Before they made cars, they made weaving. So it's very important you too have multiple value revenue streams. And we see evidence of this in the way Japanese companies have grown so large. And then, of course, we get into other parts of weaved goods that do go into sales. But again, fashion and clothes making are very important. And we are teaching this, and Japanese people are getting the chance to talk about this stuff, especially with people who are inclined to talk about fashion. Okay, what stands behind me is a vast field, and there's a house in the distance. And before, you could see not just this here, but over here, those are all tea. And who doesn't know about tea? Japanese tea, tea leaves. If you come here to this park, the Japanese person you're here will be explaining to you about Japanese tea making, its history, and then you will also learn from them another part of this cultural, valuable resource that you will go on to share as well. It's now February. One of the great things of coming to Japan, especially in March, are for the blossoming cherry blossoms. It is a little early. Perhaps these aren't cherry blossoms, perhaps they are plum. And I only say that because it's so early for them to be blooming, although they don't look like plum, because plum is a more darker shade of pink, and these are a light shade. But hey, you will see these things and Japanese will explain it. So now we are in an area, we are showing Japanese foods. And what we have here are the rice crackers, senbeis. This is a senbei rice cracker making house and experience, which you and Japanese people will come and they will explain to you in English the process of how you will be making rice cakes. And you can see there are many on display for you to try, for you to eat. And again, this experience is gonna allow this to become a part of you and a Japanese person's realm of communication in your collaboration as entrepreneurs. And these are the ovens where you will be making the rice crackers. So I hope you bring your appetite. You're gonna need. This is the place where we are gonna also be eating together. And you will be able to choose over an array of different Japanese foods. And this will also expand your horizons and allow Japanese people to eat with you and share and explain. And it will set the stage so hopefully you can try their homemade version of it, which I eagerly urge foreign people to experience not just the food in a restaurant, but the food that they could get at home. Now we find ourselves in a theater house where we will experience Japanese theater in terms of kabuki, various Japanese performances of various Japanese musical instruments, because when we experience this here in Japan, we will be ambassadors to take this home to our home country so we can welcome Japanese art to be performing in our towns, and we will have Japanese festivals, and this can justify investment that we can use to raise funds for the purpose of exporting Japanese culture to create goodwill, and that will lead to the manufacturing that we desperately need in our communities to revitalize. One of the great things about this park is that it is a step back in time of historical significance. And this place here, you will see various things that you just don't see anymore, but you will still be in the context of Japanese history, and that will allow us to be creating a united future. Because if you don't know where you're coming, you don't know where you're going. And here we also have various souvenirs that will eventually serve as products that we could perhaps pioneer in our own countries, and people will want after they come to Japan and experience it, and they're looking for that nostalgia. They experience Japan wherever in the world they happen to be. Here too, we have a stage where we are going to be welcoming artists. We love artists, people that perform music. They serve in attracting people, and once the people are here, we're able to empower them with knowledge that they could go on to take action for win-win development for everyone. So as you can see, this is an abundant space of park in nature. And then behind me, we have another house. And if you consider these houses as co-collaboration spaces, then you can imagine the kind of activity that we're going to get involved in, not just conversation, but building and creation, and getting it on YouTube so we could communicate with our audiences so that more people are interested and they become a part of it. Behind me is a hill where you and your Japanese collaboration partner will be engaging in activities like this, for example, is sleigh riding, okay? But if you look also behind me here, we have a track. And here we use these vehicles that are like Segways. And I say like Segway because Segway is a company, this is a different company, but the same kind of mobility device. And there is a little track, and again, it's just a situation to speak English and learn. But here we have the landing spot for these zip lines, which start at the adventure course down yonder at the park. You can look forward to that. Now we've reached another fun part, and these are the go-karts. And if you can imagine, not that you're just riding on a go-kart, but that you're using the go-kart as a language tool and a way to develop relationships with Japanese people. In the distance, you'll see go-karts, okay? And you'll also see bicycles. And we're filming these. We are using them together. We're collaborating. We're getting thirsty. And then boom, we have Japanese vending machines. And if you could see the different choices of what there is to drink, it is another source of education and wonder and interest for your brain to feast upon something new, because every day is the same until we make it new, especially through collaboration with new people that I introduce.